Thank you. Legends, we're here. We're ready to roll. It's Paul. And we're going to go ahead and join those boys in a little while. Get some clips for you all. Let's go, my brother. Yeah, you want to hold that?
There we go, yeah.
Here we go. Around with it. Get out there. Now we're leaving a little of the lights coming already.
Yep.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, went up to the woodlands. We took the long way to meet Team RR. Once we got there, we headed on Research Forest, Egypt Lane, Fish Creek, into Honey. Doug was there, so he and I ended up breaking away. And then once we got into Fish Creek, Paul and I headed into the forest. We went to Hidden Forest and we filmed at the Hidden Forest Lake for a little bit right there. That's Hidden Forest Lake. And then we came back the long way, ended up doing a longer ride than we had planned. It was a very mild day, great temperatures. We came back on Fish Creek, back into the woodlands. Took the long way back to our home because it was just so pleasant and we're having such a good time. It was just nice being out on the bike. We hope you all enjoy the clips that we took for you because I think you will find them very interesting.
We're going to go out the normal way to, like we go to Taco Corner. Then you know when we climb the hill out the Conroe Loop and then we turn right at the stop sign to go downhill to Taco Corner?
As Mark discussing the route.
Over to 149. Then we're going to go out 1097 to Valley Grove and then to Taco Corner. That's about 8 miles.
So if we want to go...
So he's saying they're not stopping at Taco Corner on the way out. They're going to go out west to Bailey Grove and then 149. We pretty much just went straight up 149 once we rode into Montgomery with them. We headed north and just did the Hidden Forest area.
I just want everybody's derailleurs to stay on.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Did you find the screw?
No.
That's frustrating.
I know.
Yeah, I took a health break, so I just rolled in.
Yeah.
The commentary? Nice.
See you
on Saturday.
Hey guys.
Good morning, guys. No, what you want to know from Max is, did he ride yesterday, Avi? Because if he rode yesterday, we're okay. If he didn't ride yesterday, we're dead. Hey, Doug. I think we got everybody, so...
What he's talking about is some of the guys rode to Huntsville. Doug in the green over there next to Rob in the yellow, to the right of Rob. They rode to Huntsville, Texas, and it was raining. He tells me about it in a little while. And I told him, man, that's a day for the hard men because it was raining. It rained all night Friday. I mean, Thursday night, all night, and then Friday morning they headed out. So he said it was on and off.
Go down to Taco Corner. We're going straight over to 149, out 1097.
So the people who just came, Mark is giving them the route.
And then to Taco Corner. Today it's about 8 miles, 8 extra miles. Then we'll stop at Taco Corner. Those who want to ride longer can go, and those who need to go home can turn around.
And don't wait for me. Saturday, not Sunday.
We didn't go back to Taco Corner with them. We just headed north once we got into Montgomery. We took 149 north.
And then
I would be there.
straight down.
So Paul and I discussing what we're going to do, and we just decided we're just going to go straight up into the forest once we get there. It's a cool morning. We didn't need to stop at that point.
I just wanted to catch this before.
This is cool, my baby. Do what you gotta do. I'll work with it. It was just an idea. It's unique enough.
Yeah.
So as we head out, see Bob in the blue over there? He ends up falling. Look. Right there. So he was more embarrassed than hurt. He fell in the soft grass there, but he knew what caused the fall, and that's more important. He said that Mary had been on the outside, so he was cutting the corner real close, and he was going too slow, and he leaned the bike over too much. So right there, his front brakes are rubbing. He's not aware of it right now, but when he turns, he will kind of feel it. So I'm behind here, and I see him, and I go ahead. I'm back there. I will end up stopping to help him because he was more worried about people seeing him fall, and he wasn't hurt at all. So I just told him, man, everybody's falling at one point or another. That's where he stopped. So I'm behind. I end up pulling in there, helping him. He forgot to put his light on. He was, just a little disturbed, I guess, by the embarrassment of falling in front of everybody. And so I turned on his light for him, checked his rear brake clearance. The front brake was rubbing. We fixed that, and then we head out. And Paul is riding out here, and he's wondering where I am. You'll hear Doug in a little while. Mark is waiting, and I told Mark he's good. And so they're rolling. But Doug will ride up and tell Paul that I'm back there with Bob, helping him get his bike situated. And I just told him, I said, man, I've fallen. Everybody's falling. If you're worried about falling, don't ride a bike. And he said, yeah, it's just my ego's kind of bruised, and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, you're not hurt, so that's good. I mean, because those slow falls, you can hurt yourself because you hit the ground in one spot. So the key is to remember why you fell and not repeat the same thing. That's what really is more important than anything. So he just leaned the bike over too much. So you'll hear Doug in a little bit tell Paul that I'm back there.
Hey, good morning,
helping
man.
Bob.
How are you?
Yes, Eldred stopped with Eldred stopped with Bob. He was looking at his bike.
Oh, okay.
Because Paul was ahead of me, so he didn't see me stop.
Yeah.
How have you been, man?
I'm
Good?
good. Staying busy.
Yeah.
Still working from home.
Mr. Bob was okay. His front brake was rubbing.
Everything working now?
Yeah. He said that he was going slow.
Yeah.
And Mary was on the outside, and he leaned the bike too much at a low speed.
Yeah.
And just fell on the grass. So
Yeah, I
the
had
front
that
brake
feeling.
he was rushing so much that he didn't realize the front brake was rubbing. So he just
But he's okay, though?
he's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, he landed on the grass like you saw, so his ego is walked up. So yeah, nothing wrong with falling. Get back up.
I tried to fall in front of so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Doug just says. Yeah, it's not so much the fall, but falling in front of everybody. So if it happens to you, don't worry about it. Get up, check yourself first, then check your bike. Make sure it's functioning well.
Slow speed.
Brakes are not rubbing or anything. And then get back up on it. Keep going.
Good size group in there, man.
Yeah.
Just make sure you know why you fell, so you don't repeat the same thing. That's all. I like those things on Doug's bike that look like reflectors and stuff that he put on the wheels and on the fork and the rear stays. Very visible. So we're just rolling. This is the warm up of the ride. We're rolling at about 17, maybe 18 miles an hour, something like that. Chatting.
Oh, man.
They had out in the rain.
I'm telling him that this is the ride for the heart, man. He just told me they rode Friday, and I knew it rained all night Thursday. That's what I tell him. I said, that's a Veloharmony ride, man. The Veloharmony.com is a page that talks about cycling rules from the old days. And they say, if you're riding in bad weather, you're just a badass, period. Some of their rules are hilarious. Some of them are a bit much. But check out the Veloharmony, Veloharmony.com. They've got some cool rules for cycling, like whether you should carry a saddle bag or not, how you should store your tubs and all that kind of stuff. They're really into that. it's an interesting website. It's all about our sport.
Cold because the temperature dropped and they rode the Huntsville.
Yeah, Doug said his toes went to sleep because Friday, with that rain that came in Thursday night, the temperatures went down about 20 degrees Fahrenheit easily from the day before. So he said that he didn't cover his shoes, and when they got to Huntsville, his toes were like ice. They were just cold.
I got my pink.
So that's the area we live in. It's hard to really always nail down what you need for the weather.
Put them on sale.
I'm wearing the white one you gave me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling Paul that I keep a list on my reminders of things that I need for cycling as things wear out. And right now, the base layers are neat, but I want like the black ones because they go with everything. You know, but I don't like to get them at retail because I have some base layers. So I figure I'd wait. That's what we're talking about.
So I said it happens to everybody. Yeah, my ego is bruised. That's okay.
We're talking about Bob's fall and the fact that he said his ego is bruised. Don't worry about it. The key is that you, like I said earlier, know why you fell, make the necessary correction. I think it's more embarrassing to fall from the same cause more than once. Then that means you're not learning and improving your bike handling.
Because you know what's going on. You're good.
So, but he had it sorted out. He knew exactly what caused it. So the good thing was you saw where he fell. You didn't even have any scrapes or anything. So.
Yeah, it's really weird with these gadgets, man. I see you like that bad boy, huh?
Yeah, man.
That's just the standard. I think the standard's good enough because I like it. You know how you saw it?
Yeah.
You saw it, so yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like this little bad boy, man.
And the view we have, that super view. You saw how it showed most of my bike when I turned it around.
Stop it.
I stopped here, and then some of the riders keep going, but there's a car coming from the left, and then Bob said, "Guys, be careful." Yeah, but no fuss, no muss. I've said it before. Just because you're in the group does not mean that the conditions will favor the entire group going through. So the first batch of people went through, we had to wait. Now come up here messing around.
So I showed most of my bike when I was pedaling.
Yeah.
That's super view.
Just having fun, just enjoying the bike. That's what it's about. You're recreating. I love riding my bike because not only is it fun, it gets me fit, and I can eat anything I want pretty much.
Yeah, I was getting ready this morning. I took my bike
I don't have to be worried about it. Get a craving for something, I eat it. I just ride more the next day or something. Whatever. I mean, I don't overindulge frequently, but I'm just saying I don't have to be concerned about watching calories and all that foolishness. And I still end up, my body settles where it wants to settle.
I can't differentiate you or me.
He calls you me in.
The watts are up because I'm standing. Once you stand and you stomp on the pedal, they jump around. We're not really going hard.
You can at least go by the bike,
Yeah.
In this direction, everything's
He started telling me about
slight
how the
grade
film
and
was.
so forth.
He watched the film.
Okay.
He said,
I must be sitting because the watts are going down.
Yeah, the one we did when this thing fell.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He said, "Did you get the screw?" He's the one that stopped and helped.
Oh, that's Sam. That's the guy up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, "I like the narration.
Oh, okay.
The film came out pretty good." I just smiled.
For those of you who are interested in the Power Pod, my testing has revealed that this stuff, it just works. I like it. It takes all of 15 to 20 seconds to switch between bikes. Very stable. I've learned the little nuances. If you wanted to automatically switch between your bikes, you have to get multiple speed monitors. Meaning the speed sensors. I'm using one speed sensor. I'm not going to buy more speed sensors just for that. And so I have to manually switch it using their software which takes all of 20 seconds maybe, you know. So it takes less than a minute to switch the bike, hook it up, and I've got an extension to where I can hook up the thing, the power pod to a computer without having the bike right next to the computer. So it's not a problem. It's really easy to use. I don't feel like I need the auto syncing, and I'm not going to invest the dollars in additional speed sensors because I had that one and I rarely used it. I only got it to use on the trainer, and now I only use it with the power pod or when I'm on the trainer. So
yeah, I noticed.
it's another option for those who want to train with power, and it's very affordable, and they have excellent support. I've never had to use their support because I was able to figure stuff out. You know.
Okay.
The documentation is decent, and they've got videos on YouTube that cover how to configure and mount and so forth. So there's enough information where you don't need to call if you're somebody who's handy. So I primarily use it for the group rides. So once I decide which bike I'm going to use for the group ride, I put it on the group ride. Because when I train during the week, I just go ride my bike and I use the feel of my legs to tell me what I'm doing and what I want to do that day.
Yeah.
Because I've used power meters in the past, and those of you who've been on the channel know that. I don't like to use it on every ride because you feel like you're in a lab all the time. I just like to ride my bike.
Review this, tell us what you think. You know, the shoes, I just been lazy because they don't give you anything for it.
Exactly. I just delete, man. I guess.
Yeah.
I get a lot.
So when Paul and I are riding here, you see we're chatting. I mean, I'm narrating over it, but we don't have the time during the week to catch up on a lot of stuff. This gives us an opportunity, especially the hour where we ride from Northampton up to the Woodlands. We get to catch up on the happenings during the week. And then after we leave the group, we have portions of our ride where we chill. You will see at the tail end of this film, we actually stopped and filmed a lake. And this dog, this tight little dog, came to act tough and just has had a big heart, and it was just hilarious. So I left that in there. I wish I had gotten more of the dog, but by the time I turned on the camera, he had stopped barking that much. But he was in front of us as if to say, I'm watching you guys. He basically walked up and sat in the middle of the road where we're standing in our path to make a point. And when you see the dog, you're gonna laugh because it's hilarious. You know? I ended up showing the clip to my wife and she just laughed. We're in his territory and he wanted to make a point.
I will give it back to you. Let me get your kit.
Yeah, I wanted to get Paul's kit. He has favorite arm warmers, the Veloharmony arm warmers. I'm not wearing any because we started.
I'm not gonna make that same mistake twice.
It's right at I think 15 or 18 Celsius. Right now it says 13 Celsius, so we're probably 58, 59. It was supposed to be 60 to start and 80 for the high, so I figured. And then it's a warm 13 Celsius because the wind is not from the north today, not as much.
Because yesterday the temperature kept dropping.
Yeah.
Said he was going to cover his shoes, but he didn't. I said you were not paying attention to the temperature.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, Doug said that when they got to Huntsville, his toes were cold. He was going to cover his shoes, then he changed his mind. That's what we deal with this time of year in our area. Things change so drastically sometimes. So sometimes you cover your shoes, you get out there, they get too warm, you gotta take them off and stick them in your pocket. So we see a lot of cyclists this time of year well into spring with full pockets, you know, out of their jacket has been removed or whatever. That happens. Sometimes I just stick stuff under my jersey if my pockets get full. God, much rather have it and not need it, you know. But then sometimes you're like, I don't know if I want to carry something I may not need. So you can't always get it perfect every time, but you get close. If you pay attention to the details and walk outside before you leave, sometimes it makes a difference. That's Sam on the right there. There's a light on me. Yeah, I'm asking for Arturo. There's a guy named Arturo who was joining and said he was there. see him behind us. So we had a big turnout. You know, the weather's changed. It's nice, and you know, with the lockdown, people want to get out, physical as well as mental.
I look
People
like a
want
Miss
some
Davis.
changes. I was playing with the cleats on that on that shoe the night before, trying to twist it. It feels funny. My left foot feels like it's not happening. You see me twist my foot from time to time. It felt like there was something, like my sock had folded. I can feel all that. There was a new legend that came to the channel, and he put a comment. He said, "Your saddles look way back." You know, my bikes are in the shots when I film in the studio, and I just smiled. You know, I didn't respond or anything, but it just showed that he doesn't understand bike fit. My bike is fitted for me. How it looks means very little. How it feels is more important. So quit worrying about how your bike looks. Get it to fit your body. We're on the open road and we're rolling along. I believe that Doug is at the front right now pulling. Ordinarily, I need at least 40 to 45 minutes to warm up. If it's colder, maybe close to an hour, but I need about, at least sometimes I need close to 20 miles to really get my body into wanting to ride like I normally ride. And so that's all the more reason why we ride to these rides. Give you a chance to kind of ease into the ride. You have to find out how much warm-up you need for whatever event. If you're doing a very long ride, you don't need to warm up, because if the ride is long enough, you start out reasonably slow or reasonably comfortable pace to where you don't need to worry about warming up. If you're doing events, like those of you who are still competing, if you're going to do a race or a time trial, the warm-up needs to be more intense so your body is ready when the signal goes off. But if you're doing a century or something like that, you don't need much of a warm-up. But whichever ride distance you're doing, you still need to give your body the chance to get to what I call operating temperature. You will tolerate the effort better. You will recover better. It's just good for you all around. Check for traffic. I stay on the road. There's a lot of little debris to the right. I didn't want to go over those lines. You can literally feel them. Since nothing was coming, I stayed there until everything converges, which is right here. I think I get behind the dam. Right there. So that's the key, riding around other cyclists. Just pay attention to where everybody else is and what's going on, especially as you change your line. And even when we're going like this, I try to look around people. I don't want to be surprised. So if the group is slowing down, I know before the person in front of me slows down. Then I soft pedal or I coast, like you see me doing right there. The cool thing about riding in a group, I'm close enough to where even though we're moving at a reasonably fast pace, this was a slight downhill, and because I'm in the draft, I'm not putting out that much power. I'm in the bottom of my zone 1 area, and really it's easy at this point. And that's why I make the comment often enough to say, if you're not very experienced, this is not the time for you to be at the front killing yourself. Because if the heavy hitters are sitting in the draft, they have not even begun riding, and if you're at the front fighting the wind, pulling the group, and you're not very fit, when they really start to ride, you will have trouble staying with the group. So keep that in mind. It's a big enough group, there's enough people to pull. Catch the green light here, roll through the first intersection. See me twisting my head? Every time I'm gonna change my line, I just look. I look because when we used to compete, people can come around, left, right, whatever. So I always just have the habit of tilting my head to make sure the space is clear before I move there. Just assume that everything around you is occupied, and that way, that's your default. Always look. You see that guy coming up on my left? That's what I'm talking about. That's Tim. So you always gotta look. Now you see Mary's up. We go by Mary and I compliment. I like her kit color, that brown and beige or Belgian waffle color of the jersey. I complimented her. Mary rides too big a gear in my opinion. And as a result, when we go hard, she can't turn it. The physics don't work. They're against her. I've chatted with her several times about it, but I guess she's just comfortable riding that way. I think she'd be a more prolific rider if she watched her gear. As Doug, he was pulling, he's pulled off, and he's trying to just drift back where necessary to get in the line. It's a big group, the line is long. The thing about cycling is that once it gets hard enough, you don't have to worry about finding a space in the line. Because what will happen at the front is there will always be 1 or 2 people that don't want to pull all the way through because the effort is harder than what they want to do. So what they'll do is they'll leave a gap. So as you come off the front, if you want to work hard that day, you probably just end up slipping back in 3rd or 5th position or something like that. There's always room at the front. Or someone may come and pass you while you're pulling, then you just get on their wheel. So that you're not gonna have to worry about, oh, I'm gonna have to go all the way to the back of the line. Not necessarily. Not everybody wants to be in the wind per se. So the harder it gets, you have no trouble finding a spot. I complimented Mark about just the turnout today before we hit Fish Creek. There's a lot of people. It was pleasantly surprising to see. Once you get your shoes, your saddle, and your bars in the right place, when you sit on the bike, it's like you're floating at a point in space, and the bike just meets you there. So you have no numb hands or nothing. Everything's balanced. And that's why when people ask, I have this numbness after 45 minutes. Well, the body will tolerate it for a while. And as you ride longer and longer, then you start to feel the ill effects. So when you've gotten as far as you can with trying to dial your fit in on your own, get some help. And just cut out the years of trial and error that most riders go through. This guy started with us. At this point, he's struggling. The light turns red. I can tell when I went by him, the guy on my right, I could hear his breathing was changing. So he was at the red line, basically, pretty much past threshold or at threshold. His breathing was ragged, he was panting. And I tell him there to stay close as I ride up. He got dropped. So he's gonna need to get more kilometers in. Get a plan and stick with it. It's clear he hasn't been riding enough. to hold this pace because we're not really going that hard here. I don't know what these two are doing. They just pull out of the line and start slipping back. And I just move up. That's John on the left. I'm more concentrating on Dan's wheel here. The road's going up a little bit.
Good.
You see where I am? Look at the pavement. Look how clean it is. There's a big enough group. I don't need to be on that little shoulder. There's too many riders. You know, we're just used to riding towards the right, but I don't need to follow anybody on that side. Plus, being on the left, not only is it clean, I can see around them. I don't have to be concerned with getting a puncture. Took my bottle off the seat stay and I think I put it on the down tube. Yeah, I think that's what I just did. I only carry one bottle when the temperature drops below 18 Celsius. I don't need to drink that much. I drink before I leave and carry one. And we stop when we need to, which is usually 3 to 4 hours in. Since I drink right before I leave and I drink all the time when I'm off the bike, I'm more concerned about not having to stop frequently to pee in the cooler times of the year. And I don't need what's his name? Abby's talking about Paul's bike. He says white and it looks clean. I thought you should see his truck. He tells me about it there. I said you should see his truck. I said that's Paul. Take care of the stuff you have, you get more. Because they all come from the man upstairs. Everything you have is given to you by the Creator. That's what I believe. You get it through different paths. Whether you get the right job that gives you the means to get it, or you get it as a gift or whatever, it's a blessing. And if you take care of it, you get more. And taking care of it does not mean hoarding. What it may mean is that if you have things you don't need and somebody else does, let them have it. There's no point in it sitting around. You're not using it. When you give, you receive. That's what that means. I don't keep anything around I'm not using. I find a way through some charity or some way to give it away, or give it to someone that I see needs it. I'd much rather somebody have what I have and can use it than for me to just have it and it's sitting there idle. I'm letting them know there are rocks over there, and then one guy, you can't see it on the camera, he flicked rocks with his wheel because he went through the rocks at the intersection. The cars drive and they blow rocks in that center. There's no reason for us to ride through rocks. We can use this whole lane. I'm sitting there because that's the place where the draft is best, behind Dan's wheel, and I have the visibility I need. So I'm staying as close to him as I can because I have a feeling that things are gonna heat up when we get up into the hill, especially after that overpass. It always gets interesting. So all I do is, as they slow down, I soft pedal. You can see my cadence flipping down and up, down and up. That's all you need to do. You don't need to use your brakes. Let the wind slow you down. Let the friction. So when they slow down, I move a little to the left to catch more wind. I'm trying to find the draft. You see me drifting a little to the right and a little to the left. And I call it drifting because I'm not turning. They're not abrupt moves. It's like you glide left, glide a little to the right. And so riders following you are not startled. Because every bit of energy you save, you can tap into later. Remember, the human body has a finite amount of energy. You know, in the past, I'd be in a breakaway, big race, we're riding hard, I'm going good, and all of a sudden, just run out of energy. It took a while to learn how to dose that out. Because the harder you go, the more stingy you gotta be. You gotta be tighter, you know, on the wheel in front of you. Because when you're going hard, you don't want to be pulling too long. Short, fast pull, and make sure you top off your energy stores. There's a lot going on when you're riding, and that's all the more reason why I don't necessarily listen to music on these rides. There's too much going on. There's too much stimuli to my brain to where I don't need that as a distraction. And that's why riding is not boring. You know, you're taking in the scenery and the riders around you and the cars and the dogs and potholes and all of that. That's a lot. And that's why we get home and we're pumped, because you've been entertained. They can't make a movie in Hollywood that does what cycling does for your brain, because you already love it, and then all that other stuff is thrown in. The scenery, the views, you know, the fact that you're moving under your own power. You're transporting yourself and getting fit, all like sitting in a car and getting fat. The road goes up here, we apply more power to the pedals. Look at the watts. I had really good legs on this day. I still can't figure it out because my week was upside down. I could not stay with my regular schedule. I still rode, but I rode at different times of the day, and that makes a difference in how much recovery you have. And then my wife and I rode on Friday. We spun around the neighborhood. She's getting fit, so even when I ride with her, I got to work harder than my easy ride by myself. So I did a lot more riding on Friday than I wanted to. There's no more taking her out on my recovery days. It's a bit of a Zone 1, Zone 2 ride with her. We go on the overpass here. You can tell I'm not really working that hard. My legs just felt good. And I'm just staying with these guys. Whatever they want to do is fine with me. You will see some riders. That's the new bridge right there. That's Abby on the right in his chartreuse. Abby, I think, and Dave and a bunch of them. So they've got that thing open. I was not aware of it. So we just stayed here with the main group. We converge after. You see, Mark looked over. He saw them. You see me a little to the right because it's getting cleaner there. The cars drive over there, I guess. Some of the drivers don't hold that line normally. So whatever's clean, I'll use it. Especially on a two-way overpass like this. But then I drift back over because I see the barrels right there. And you see me let people know. Because those barrels come up when you're following somebody. You don't see them. The rider in front of you blocks them. So then I just go ahead and use the lane. You don't want to hit those things. You know, the plastic, you'll feel the sting because they have a nice density to it. So that's the road that they're going to open when they're done. The guys that were on the right are going to converge on the right over there. You see where Mark is? Those are the guys that took the other side. Dan pulled up to the left, and I just ride up to these guys. We're riding at a good pace here. For me, it's like zone 3. That's what it felt like, 3 out of 5. A lot of my training on my quality days, I try to do at least 4 out of 5 effort-wise during the work intervals. Mark had already told us that we were going to turn left on Capitol Road, so we kind of know the route. There's a car coming, I'm checking. Tim is at the front right now. Mark is behind him, and then that's Lulo with the E jersey. Lulo's wearing a regular short. You see his skin? The jersey's pulled up. It's not clear. You probably see it again. Look there. That's his skin. If it was very cold, he wouldn't be comfortable because you don't want your spine exposed like that. That's why I wear it. That's another reason I only wear bib shorts. And these guys turn. And you see Doug riding up. Doug senses, okay, something's going on here. Because when they turn, people backed off. People getting tired. So Paul rides up. In a little bit, Paul's gonna ride up to Doug. I stayed close because I could sense that something was happening. And if I'm up there, I might as well stay there. There's no point drifting back and having to chase back up. I have to say this. I'm not paid for saying it, but that kid I'm wearing, the Aero jersey, it's not a fad. I could literally feel the wind flowing over my body wearing that jersey. And it wasn't zipped up all the way in the front. I brought the zipper down a little bit. That's Doug. Doug and I are going to end up breaking away in a little bit. I put the arrow on him so you can watch because he rode to Huntsville the day before and he said that today he was just going to do a shorter ride. But it was good having somebody instigate the pace that I could go with and ride with, and we shared the work. And you see that in a little while. Staying to the left of Mark, he gets left, I go right. I always want to see around. You see me drift back to this side. I want to see the road. I don't want somebody pointing at anything for me. I want to know what's coming so I can plan my line. You see, I'm just a little to the left, but that gives me the visibility I need. I'm looking for all the imperfections in the road so that I can avoid them. That's the way you're supposed to follow. Don't follow directly behind and be riding blind. You see me using my hips and just moving the bike. Saves your wheels, your tires. Yeah. You don't have to get home and mess with your wheel because it's off true. Because you didn't hit every pothole on the road. That's what we mean when we say read the road. Know where your wheel. I do the same thing when I drive my car. I'm not going to run into a pothole and tear up my front end. That costs you money. So Mark wants to stop to regroup, and we're not going that hard, so I go ahead and just ride through. So Paul just told him there's a car up so he wouldn't drift left because he was looking behind for other riders. I just keep riding. Mark says let's regroup. He said it's not that far off, but my thing is that they should have tried to stay.
Wait very long. Looks like everybody's pretty close.
But you know, and what I believe is I understand what he's doing there, but let them form a group B. They know where we're going. And we can meet at Cockle Corner or something. I just keep spinning up there. I don't want to stop. I'm not riding hard. You see my speed is like 17 miles an hour. I'm just turning the pedals. Yeah, right there. I'm just turning the pedals. Watts are under 200. Just soft pedaling enough so they can catch up. That's what this is about. I go ahead and top off my energy stores in a little bit. Paul spotted that. He was laughing. He was teasing me later when we're in the forest. He said, I saw you. I know how to get that gel in my system quickly. I don't mess around. A few pedal strokes, I'm done. And I'm using my hearing to know when riders come. I hear them talking, and I know they're there. I just keep the pace the same. It beats stopping at a corner to wait. We can drop the pace a little bit, and then people who are close can catch back up and get in the draft. And then Doug comes and goes to the front, and I lift my pace and get on his wheel. This is what I was talking about. That when it's time to ride, you'll find a place. But what I observed in a lot of these rides is some of the riders don't draft closely enough, so they work harder even though they're back there. They don't tighten it up. You got to learn to tighten it up. See how close I am to Doug? And not everybody's comfortable with that, but you got to practice and get better. That's the whole point of riding with other riders. You don't need a lot of riders to learn how to follow a wheel. You just need a wheel, one other rider. That's it. So you and your mate or mates can practice that, because that's all you need. Doesn't matter how big the group is, you're only following one wheel. I'm choosing whether to be on the right or left based on the wind, where it's coming from. Now I know that we're going to be hitting Rabon Chapel Hill coming up. We're coming to the intersection in about maybe a kilometer. And once we go through there, it's a nice long climb up to like 3-point-some%. And Doug really goes hard on that climb. And that's where he and I end up just riding away from the group. So as we approach the corner, if you're gonna drink or do whatever now, this is when you would do it. When you're coasting, you take a drink quickly before the work begins. It's clear, I check, let everybody know. Now, I'm highlighting the speed so you can see the difference. We're doing about, well, look at the power more than anything. Because as we approach the climb, the speeds will actually hold steady or go up, which confirms that we're going hard. I'm coasting right there and I start to pedal again. You see the watts are under 200 watts. We're doing 40 kilometers an hour. It's a slight downhill before the climb. You always have to make sure your rhythm is where you want it to be. You don't want to start spinning like a hamster here. We're working, so I keep my cadence up. I'm just putting the power down. You see, I did not change my position. I didn't scoot around, didn't move on the saddle, because my bike fits me. Watch us pull away. Look at the power. 350. It's going to probably go over 400 watts. We're pulling away. Yeah, 420, 430. There's a guy riding on the right. I think people are there. You see me wave. That's Rob trying to get up to us. They never make it. We're gone. And the watts have dropped because we've crested a climb, but then look at the watts go back up because there's a second climb coming and we don't let off. My heart rate gets up to like 170. It's trying to catch up with the effort. The effort's down. I mean, we're going. And there's nothing for you to see here other than the fact that Paul was not going to go that hard because he knew we were doing 6.5, 7 hours minimum. That's us up the road there. In the distance. So what you want to do is form a group B. So right now, Paul is actually group C. Knowing what kind of day we're having, he's basically keeping his efforts down. This guy had been dropped. I don't know if Paul ends up riding with him. He may, but I think he will because he's just keeping it steady as we go. We're already turned. You can see my speed up there. We're going downhill right now, and we're on that road. We're probably about maybe half a kilometer ahead of these guys. The group is chasing up to us, and we just kept the effort going. We've gotten through the turn. We've gone. The group has just turned. The gap is still there, and Doug and I are just riding. So they turned over here. There's the group. We're ahead of the group. And so I think Paul decides to just ride at his own pace. This guy's working really hard. Rider's going the other way. Paul goes by him here. I never got his name. That's the group back there. Doug and I have already turned. Look at my speed, 44 kilometers an hour. We're already turned. We're going down towards Mill Route. This is South Pine Boulevard. The group has just taken the curve. We're ahead of the group. I was not aware that we had a gap on the group. I was just riding. Paul was the one who told me about it once we hooked up. He said, yeah, you guys rode away. I didn't want to go that hard. Then the group came around. He said, but there was a gap the whole way. And then when I saw the clips, it confirmed what he said. there are people behind Paul, Mary, a bunch of other people back there. So we've got 4 groups on the road. We got Doug and I, then we've got the group chasing us, then Paul, and then Mary. And so A, B, C, D. So at this point here, Paul is holding steady. He's riding with this guy. He's been pulling for a while. This guy comes through the on-mail route here. I went ahead and edited for time. And right here, Paul is going to take the lead again and basically bring them to us. We're at the corner waiting. Some people are on the left there having a health break. I think Dan and Sam. We had some action out of camera range where Doug came back and said to me when I was ready. Basically, once we got back with the group, Doug went again. And so at this point, I had turned around to make sure that Paul didn't have a mechanical. And when I saw them coming, I turned back. I think that's my flashing light there. They're at the corner waiting. These guys are taking a break on the left here. And I'm riding back to them. So I wanted to make sure that these guys were okay. There's Bob on the right there.
So Doug comes over, he says, "You ready, Eldred?" I say, "Yep." And he takes off.
Yeah, I was behind you guys. I was like, no, I'm going too far today.
Got my cadence on.
Yeah, I saw you guys were working, man.
Oh yeah, it was good. Good weather for it.
Yeah, it was a good effort. It's a nice mild weather here. Well, we waited, and now everybody's together, but Mary and a bunch of the other guys are back, but they're minutes behind. At this point, you know, I'm not going to stand here for 7 minutes or so to wait. So you'll hear Mark ask me as we begin to go, did you see them? Because I had written back to make sure everybody was okay. And you guys saw me turn around when I saw Paul in them. But I told Mark that I didn't see anybody else. So that means they're not close enough for us to continue to wait here.
Oh yeah, I took a gel. I took a gel.
Yeah, I just told Paul that I took a gel, and he saw me. I wasn't aware he had seen me take my gel.
They're a bit off.
That's why I told Mark, I said they're a bit off. Because I didn't see them at all. And he's going to ask me here.
You think they're close?
No.
Yeah, I told him no. Yeah, they weren't even in sight. There's no point waiting here for them. They can meet the group at Taco Corner when the group comes back. That's basically group D. We weren't going to wait that long. So I've got the camera here. I had not put on my sunglasses. They're on the back of my head. The sun had not come out yet. I don't really like riding without glasses, but I just hadn't thought about them, and there weren't insects or anything, but you know, just whenever possible, yeah, put on your glasses, because those little bugs, if they get in your eye, they can force you to stop. They hurt. So I don't have my glasses on, and what I do is I just make sure that I keep my head down as much as possible. We got enough wind blowing to where hopefully it'll discourage bugs or whatever, but you know, it just worked out. But ordinarily I wear my glasses. I don't wear them early in the morning because we leave when it's dark. You guys see that when we roll out. But then once the light comes up, once the sun comes up, I put them on. But it's just such an overcast day. It was supposed to be sunny. The sun comes out later for a little bit, but most of the day it stayed overcast. We're on 2854, headed north. I'm sitting, this is Dave. I think I'm sitting on Dave's wheel here. We rode up to them, we just sat there. He was eating something. You see how he disposed of his trash? Just put it in his pocket. When you get to the store, you drop it in the trash can. There's no point littering your beautiful ride route. There are times when, if I'm going really hard, yeah, I got to find a way to discard that stuff quickly. Especially the gel, it's too sticky sometimes to mess with. A lot of times when we ride through the neighborhoods, we'll empty our pockets in people's garbage cans. Because sometimes it's trash day, the stuff's out, we just throw it in there. minimize how long you have to carry it in your pocket, because when you keep it in your pocket, if you reach back in there to get something else out, sometimes they fly off. This is a slight grade. It may get up to 1.5 or so. And it says 1 up there. So you have to train for the kind of riding you're doing. That's why I say all the time. You guys saw we went up that hill, 400 plus watts or whatever. My heart rate was like 157. It got up to 160 something, up to 170. You've got to hit the zones you want to ride in so you can get the adaptation that you need. The ability to process lactate at those levels, all of that. That's why you should have a training plan that gets you in there. So during the week, all my rides are different. Regardless of the length of the ride, I have a focus for each ride. We passed these 2 riders here. I flipped the camera back. So what I was saying is, if you're going to ride with faster riders and you want to be able to keep up with them, you have to train appropriately. You've got to be able to hit those high zones and high efforts. We're about to go downhill, so Bob goes to the front. I don't know if this is where I ride past Dave, but in a little bit I start to ride past Dave, because when we're descending, I always end up going faster than most of these guys. I don't know why, but it's always the case. And I don't like to feather my brakes. So I would end up just getting on the road and just riding. I'm not really trying to do anything other than just maintain the momentum. You see how I'm just slightly to the left, and I'm keeping my eye out for cars. I glance periodically. I think this is where, yeah, they're just going slower and slower. And you see I'm coasting at first, now I'm spinning, 30 miles an hour. I mean, with 31, 32, whatever we're doing here, it's like I don't want to hit the brakes. So I'm just riding normally in whatever gear I'm in. I might be in a 15 or something like that. You're going to climb, enjoy the descent. That's the whole point. They're slowing down. I mean, Bob's on his aero bars, but he's not really going that fast. Just kind of get some different views as I go by. So I run the credits here, and then you'll see our little epilogue where we get challenged by this little dog that thinks he's tough. I didn't get most of it on film until he had sat in front of us, because he barked all the way until he got to us. Consider becoming a channel member or a patron and support Veloharmony's production of this content you love so much. But you see everybody coming in at the light.
You're on YouTube. Smile. What's your name?
It's a little dog. He came from behind us and came right in front of us, barking the whole way.
All right, legends. This guy is scaring us. It's tough. That's a tough guy. There we go. Look at the battery. We're about halfway.
He's like, he had barked all the way and then came and just stood in front of us like, I'm watching you guys.
What's up, boy? So let's do that now. Cinematic now. Now watch.
So
you don't need a
we're
gimbal
in
because
the hidden forest
yeah.
area. This is Hidden Forest Lake,
That's what I was doing.
and so we decided to
filming it?
just
Yeah.
do
Okay, cool.
You see,
a
once you
bit
see
of
that light
cinematography
Yeah.
here.
blinking, the red light, that means you're filming.
You filming.
And you can see the counter. So
And
if
he's
this
just
goes
sitting there.
off,
He's
you
been
just go,
barking the whole time. I didn't get all his
Anything
barks
can-
on
and it's in the
camera,
front,
but he
too.
stayed there until we left.
Yeah.
So you can swing the shot. What's your name, man? You just come sit over here.
Just got to say that he's blocking our
Guarding his
path.
area. We're just visiting. We're not going to take anything. You see that road in the back there? Way up
He's
there?
very
I'm gonna go
territorial.
Now that stretch is
That's the gravel. That's the gravel. We can go and.
So we're gonna
cut
go
through
ahead
up
and
there.
ride across
We
the
haven't
gravel,
tried that
and
yet.
we're gonna
We
take
came the
different
opposite way.
shots
Come
of the
on,
lake.
let's go.
Let's
All right, we'll see you, buddy. We're leaving, okay?
Check him out, tough guy. All the big dogs
Yeah,
and
we came
everything,
the
they're
opposite
minding
way,
their
my
business.
brother.
This little guy wants to enforce. He's the enforcer.
Came down to check us out, Jack. He just sat right there.
He's the
like,
enforcer
"Who are
for the
you guys?
family.
What are you doing here? This is
The
my area."
consigliere, I guess.
He said, "I'm the
Because
guy
he
in
doesn't really
charge
look like
around
an enforcer.
They just came and sat right in front of us. You didn't care.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, he says, I'm watching you guys.
Yeah, he just comes
is
and
beautiful,
stands
man.
in
Look
front
at
of us and sits there.
They remember the last time you did it with something else.
Look at
And
look at
now-
that lake. Is that beautiful?
You did it
So
with
you
the
know we
GoPro,
do
we're
these
not in
rides where we
cinematic.
ride
So
fast,
we'll
we
see
do
how this
whatever. But
comes
then there are
out.
parts of the
And
ride
this
where
we're
we
definitely
just
doing letterbox,
check
so
out
we're not
some
putting any
beautiful
stats or
areas. That's the whole
anything.
point of
But I'm
being
gonna
out
play
there.
around with stuff
I mean,
like
look
that
at this
because
scenery
I
here.
want to. Let's take us. Yeah. Next. Look at this, man. This is beautiful. Wow.
So you get on your
So no
bike,
vehicle
it keeps
rated
you
larger
fit,
than 1
it
ton
transports
allowed.
you
It's a small road.
into areas you
Don't
wouldn't
need heavy
ordinarily
stuff
visit.
over
I'd have no reason to come
So I'm
in
gonna
here.
just keep this in my hand because with the gravel, it'll probably bounce. I'm gonna avoid these rocks as much as I can.
Yeah, they just got a short little stretch it that's gravelly, but it's hard
It's not a
packed, so
long
it's not a
stretch.
problem.
But look at this.
We just
This is worth
unload the tires.
Look at that
Look
view.
at that lake.
it. This is what Dwayne likes. Always compliments us. Just watch the rocks. Just make sure you don't go over any sharp.
So they've put rocks in the potholes
And
that
just-
you know
I
has
unloaded
been
it.
washed in,
I went
dug
through
in.
there.
So we're just avoiding those areas. So it's not. It's just hard packed dirt. It's not anything
Wow,
that's
that's
gonna.
They
beautiful.
come in and they put the rocks
Look at that.
where
That's
it
beautiful.
start deep.
Yeah, where the holes are.
Yeah.
I
Look
think
how
that
the
plan is to
reflection of the
eventually pave it. They
water
need to go ahead and
reflecting
pave
the
it
sky,
because you got everything
and the
else
camera
paved.
captures it because of the setting that I'm using here. They're called the cinematic mode.
Wow, that is beautiful though. You remember it now, right? We came that way. We started filming over there, and there was another lake on the left from the other neighborhood down there that we went to.
So when you go out and you ride your bike, don't always just hammer, hammer, hammer. Take the time on some rides to take in the sights. Because
Yeah, I see it.
riding at each
Yeah, I see
zone
it. Let's fill
counts.
the hole just like you said.
Don't do the same thing all the time.
All right. That was good, my brother.
So I hope you all
good.
got a chance to get out there and get
Is
some
he coming
K's
this
in.
way? Okay, come on.
This is
Coming this
part
way.
of what we did on Saturday. Keep those doctors fired.
It's beautiful.